Phillips, and welcome to So Very Christy. So excited that you are tuning in with us today. Each week, we're going to have an amazing show for you. We have our amazing tip, or at least I think they're amazing, lined up for you each week.
They are amazing, Christy.
And I like to call them Christologies, which we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. And every week, we're going to have an exciting guest for you, and we're going to go behind the scenes with that guest and really get in there and find out, you know, what makes them tick, what they've got going on. It's going to be a blast. And always, I love to close the show with a song for the soul. And, you know, I love this. I guess it was a couple years ago, I read this book by Lisa Nichols, and she said, some people are in your life for a reason. Some people are in your life for a season, and some are in your life for a lifetime. And the two ladies I have with me today are definitely in my life for a lifetime. I've got my sidekick over here, Jens Johnson.
Oh yeah, you're not getting rid of me, girl. I've attached myself to your coat. Okay,
I love that.
You got me for life.
I love it. And then we have Debbie Hanley, who I'm super excited about her being here today. We have known each other for a long time. We'll tell you how long here in just a few minutes. And I'll tell you what, I'm just going to tell you just a little bit about myself, and I'm going to try not to talk too long. But I am from Southeast Oklahoma. I was raised on a farm, believe it or not, and it was a great childhood. I had a great childhood. My parents were amazing, and I actually raised some hogs. Okay, we'll talk about that in another show.
How many hogs did you raise, Christy?
Like maybe 4.
Wow.
You know.
And those aren't your siblings?
Charlotte
Not
Wilbur.
your siblings?
No.
Real hogs.
I don't call them hogs.
Real hogs, okay.
And so I moved here in Dallas, Texas when I was 17, and I've been doing hair and makeup and doing music since I was 7 years old. I've been singing and play the piano, or I did back then, and I should start again, I think. But anyway, it's been a blast living here in Dallas. I've met some amazing people along the way, and actually went to school for music at SMU and Richland College before that. Was in a couple of bands, pursued it, and then I took a break for about 9 years and didn't sing even in the car at some point, which is very weird. I can't even imagine it now. But about a year ago, I decided, you know what? If you don't use it, you lose it. So I decided to go back and just at least get my voice in shape, kind of like working out. You know, you got to have a trainer or a coach. So I went back to Linda Septian, who's an amazing coach and one of the best in the nation. And I went back to her, and I've just started doing all kinds of things since then. And this show is one of them. And I've got, I think we should get into some Christology. What do y'all think?
We got to.
Okay, so Christology came about because all my friends know I'm always giving tips to everybody about not just hair and makeup and beauty, but just, I mean, food, hormones. I mean, you know, like I know a little about a lot of things, and especially anything that has to do with nutrition. I just love it. And, you know, Debbie's always telling me, you got to write a book. And I don't know. I was kind of thinking this weekend, maybe I should write a book, but I don't know. That'll be another episode. But
you should write a book, Chrissy. I'll buy it.
Okay, good.
And
I got two people. I got two.
And I'll read it too.
Okay, good. I won't do it on tape. That'll be the next one.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's kind of how it came about. Everybody's like, well, you know, Christy's an ologist about everything, and I really am a cosmetologist. And we had a friend that we met in Vegas one weekend, and we were just kind of messing around with him, and we actually just met him. And so I was like, well, you know, I'm a mixologist, and you know, he's like, oh, that's funny. I was like, you got to do this, you got to drink this drink, juicing, whatever. And then, you know, the next thing was, you know, he was going through divorce, and I was like, well, you know, I'm a neurologist. And then he's like, whatever, you're not a neurologist. And Jen's like, yeah, she went to school on the side, and we kind of almost had him. And then the next day,
it was very close.
For real,
was
I was
very
like,
close.
you know what? I said, you really should do this to your hair.
Yes.
And
there were good tips,
yeah,
too.
and then he was like, I should. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm a cosmetologist. And he was like, you are not. Yeah, and so, like, it's been kind of a joke, I'm an ologist, so Christyology, that's how that was born.
That was how it was born. It was birthed in Las Vegas.
Yeah, so we brought something back from Vegas.
That we talk about.
Yeah, that we're not ashamed of. So
that's the only thing. That's the only thing that we're going to talk about, right?
Yeah, so that's kind of going to be my tip of the week. And so this week's tip is about my doggy. And Ziggy, go ahead and roll that tip. Okay, Christyology of this week is, see this guy right here? He's 16 years old, and see how good his hair looks, and he looks nice and healthy. He looks young, but I tell you what, 6 months ago, I thought he was at the end of the road. So what I did is I started feeding him a little bit of his food, and of course I have to feed her the same thing because you know how dogs are. They have to all have it. And I feel guilty if I don't give it to her. But anyway, see this right here? This is just pumpkin, 100% pumpkin, no sugar, not pumpkin pie. I started feeding him pumpkin in his dog food, and he started eating. And I'd gotten kind of lazy and I wasn't walking him, so I started walking him once a day, and then twice a day really kicked his appetite into high gear. And then I started adding chicken to his food, and then this is sweet potato. So pretty much just adding to it, and he is dying to eat all the time, and he's doing amazing. So anyway, Christyology for a healthy dog. So,
okay, what I want to know is, can I be your dog?
Yes.
Can I be your dog? Because I don't eat that well at my house.
My sister-in-law says, when I come back, I'm going to either be your dog or your sister's dog.
Exactly. Exactly. So not only now am I attached to your hip and I'm attached to your coat, I'm going to be...
You need me to feed you?
Yeah, can you do that?
Yeah. I do like to feed people.
You do?
I do. Healthy stuff.
Yes.
Mostly because I don't really know how to cook fancy stuff.
I know.
But, yeah, so he's doing great. And, well, maybe not mentally, but, he's 16. So he's how old? 80, 90 years old?
I don't
he's
know.
a little slow.
But he's cute.
He looks great.
But he's cute and he looks good.
great.
I'm
Yeah.
serious. Do you have dogs, Debbie?
I do.
You have
I
many?
have a dog. Yeah, I have one.
Do you feed your dog like that?
No, not at all. He's lucky if I don't forget to feed him most days.
I'm serious. It's good to be Christy's dog.
Well, when you have kids, they take the front seat, dogs get the back, but
That's true.
I don't have kids.
That's
so,
true. Exactly.
Yeah.
I know.
Lots of nieces and nephews, though, and I love them.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so anyway, so that's the Christyology of the week. And what I would like to do now is get into you, Deb. So Debbie, we've known each other for a few years, like 28.
Yes.
Y'all met when you were 5.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this woman right here, I just love so much. And no matter what, we're always going to be there for each other. And no matter how much time passes and, you get busy in your life and you keep going. But I know you've got some really exciting things headed your way soon. And one thing I would like to say about Debbie is that she is an amazing mom and really hands-on, and she has an amazing son named Robert. And you've got, tell us a little bit about raising a kid, by yourself.
But hey, before you get to that, how'd y'all meet?
Oh,
I want to know. I
Ooh, do we wanna,
inquiring minds want to know.
do we want to say that?
I'm not sure we do. We met right before our 21st birthday, which, by the way, we share because we both have the same birthday.
Yeah.
We all have the same birthday. My best friend and I, we have the same birthday.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
So same birthday, same day, same year. And when we first met, we hadn't seen each other, but we had heard we might look similar. And so we started thinking
Hold
we
on,
were
let me
twins.
look at you. Let me look at you. Let me look at you. You kind of do look similar.
Yeah.
You kind of do look similar.
Yeah.
Probably more so when we were younger, I think.
I love that.
Yeah, we did. If people would mistake us, they'd be like, "Are you Debbie?" I'm like, "No, I'm Christy. Debbie's the one." And I'd say, "Well, this is how Debbie dresses," because we always dress different,
Right.
And but yeah, we met through a guy.
Okay, this is going to be interesting. Okay. I got you.
Yeah. And anyway, we've been best friends ever since.
Yes.
Thank you, Kurt.
If he's watching or listening,
Yeah, he will one day. We're going to tell him to. But yeah, thank you to Kurt. You know, you just got to thank, everybody's in your life for a reason, and
That's right.
definitely this one for a lifetime. But
That's right.
tell us, Debbie, like how it was, raising Robert,
So yeah, I would say that I was unexpectedly put into a single mom role, and it definitely changed my life for the better. I think in my 20s, I think I was kind of living on the edge and just going and taking big risks, and had my own company. And when I got pregnant, I kind of had to regroup. And when I found out that I was going to be a single parent, it was even a bigger kind of responsibility. So, at that point, I think I put, my number one goal was to be a good mom, because I knew he wasn't going to have his dad in his life. So I wanted to make sure that, whatever I did, that I could provide the kind of life that, he deserved. And, it hasn't always been easy, but it's been great. He just turned 18. So, sometimes being the mom and the dad can be a struggle, especially when it comes to things like football and, they're coming off the field crying and you want to be the mom that scoops them up, but you have to say, you need to suck it up and go back out there. You pat them on the back. So kind of balancing those two things has been the main challenge. But, I have 4 brothers and they've stepped in and helped a lot. And, I think that it really catapulted my career because, the levels that I've gone to was just because of the kind of lifestyle that I wanted to be able to provide for him, on my own. So
was his dad involved at all?
not at all.
Not at all. So so you are 100% completely. That's amazing, Debbie. How great for you. I mean, it's a hard enough job being a parent. I have 5 kids of my own, and to think, and I was a single mom for a while as well, but I always had help from their dad, and that's amazing. Big pat on the back for you.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
great. That's great. What has been the most challenging thing for you?
I think that, if I'm going to be honest, I think the last year has been really a challenge. I feel like he's been such a great kid. He never has tested boundaries and stuff until probably the last 6 months, which I was very surprised about because I was a rebellious teenager. And so I was expecting some, a hefty dose of karma coming my way with him, but he's been so good. And I think just now, I think he's just, an adult and he doesn't want to be babied anymore. We had prom this weekend and, Young Men's Service League banquet. So everything's kind of wrapping up. So, but I would say just over the last couple of months, I think he's just trying to get his space. Like,
Right.
I'm an adult. Ever since he turned 18, it's just been a new independence, which for me is really kind of hard to accept, but I know it's the natural way of
Oh,
life.
yeah,
That's the way it's supposed to
definitely.
be.
I mean, my youngest just turned 18 also. And I do think that, it's bittersweet because you've invested all of this time and energy and effort, and obviously you've done a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
But then they want to go do their own thing, and you got to let them, right? But
Right.
it is kind of hard. But that's amazing, Christy. Don't you think that's amazing that for 18 years, basically 17 and a half at least, it's been pretty very, I don't want to say smooth sailing because I know it wasn't smooth sailing, but to have a kid that wasn't rebellious, believe me, I can tell you some
that is
stories.
amazing because I'm sure if I had one, they would.
Her doggies can get rebellious. I've seen that.
But Deb, like you were always encouraging me to sing. Like she was like my number one push fan, all of that, and she's been the same for Robert. And he was kind of resistant, for a while, and trying to figure out how to choose between, or if he needed to choose between sports or singing. Like you have that with your
right. But did he, how long did he play sports before he got into singing, and what was that transition like?
Well, I think, and first let me go back and say, Christy, when I first met her, she was, into singing all the time. And I was really heartbroken the 9 years that she took off. I mean, it really broke my heart because I felt like that is your passion. Like, how can you not be doing something with that? And, you know, and I used to say, if I had your voice, I wouldn't even talk to people. I would just go around and sing to them when I was communicating with them. So, but for my son, so I kind of knew early on, I'll never forget the moment that I realized his musical gift. And we went to see Curious George when he was 3 years old. We went to the movie theater and we left. I put him in his car seat and we're driving away and he's singing the song, like this whole song. And I was like, well, where did you hear that song? It was like a beautiful song. And he said, it was in the movie, Mom. It was the very last, it was just in the credits of the movie. It was a Jack Johnson song. I'd never had heard it before. He knew it verbatim, the whole entire song at 3 years old.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, that's your gift. So of course, you know, resisting what your mom, you know, wants throughout your life. And I think the more that I pressed on it, the more he would push it away. So he kind of had to figure it out on his own. So he played baseball and football and soccer and into high school. And it wasn't until he got cut from the baseball team his sophomore year that he started writing music. So it was like a blessing in disguise. It was really a tough blow to be cut from the baseball team, but we both look back in retrospect, and he wrote 25 songs that year. He made baseball his junior year, but had he not been cut from the team, he would not have had those songs like immediately after he started writing.
And you know that is a gift, because that's what I think is amazing. And to your point, what you said about Christy, I didn't even know Christy sang until about a year ago myself. I would never. Was it killing you?
Oh my gosh! Yes.
How in the world? Like, would you just tell her all the time, Christy, you got to keep singing. You got to keep singing. And what would you say, Christy?
Well, one time I remember clearly saying, Deb, I'm just over that.
when we used to live
that
together,
ship has sailed, you know, or all the stupid things you say when you're an adult. Sometimes, like, I'm over it, or
but you think maybe you're too old, or
you're
something.
too old, or the ship has sailed, or whatever that cliche,
Right.
And then I'm like, hey, Deb, guess what? The ship's back.
Yes, it's so exciting. I remember when we were young, we were probably like in our 20s when we lived together. We had an apartment. And she literally could go and sing karaoke contests all around town. I'd go
win.
With her and win. That's how she'd pay her rent. She could like win every contest everywhere we went. I was like, why wouldn't you do this like as a full-time job?
Right, no kidding.
I won the random drawing and the karaoke contest. One time I was like, whoa, I'm rich. I'm rich.
Like, now I really can't pay my rent.
And rent was cheaper back then.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so then I want to go back to, though, how amazing was your son 15 or 16 at the time that he wrote 25 songs?
Yeah, he was, he had just turned 16. And he literally goes in and he will hear the whole song start to finish. So it is like he will hear something and like he'll write for about 10 minutes and then he'll go in his room and he has the whole thing, like the chorus, everything written out, and he can just sing it start to finish. So that's
incredible.
Yeah,
that's
really
incredible. I mean, I can't get any of my kids to write 25 sentences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
They won't even write 25 sentences about something. So at that point, is that when you really started to just put so much time, energy, and effort into his music?
You know, I really couldn't, because the more I did, like I needed him to come to me. And
Okay.
Christy has seen it lots and lots of times. The more I'd be like, oh, you need to go practice. He's like, I don't want to practice or whatever. So I just had to let him figure it out. And he had a couple of, great opportunities to audition for The Voice and American Idol, and made it pretty far along the line. And I kept telling him, it's going to take more than just your gift. It's going to take practice. It's going to take hard work, because there's a lot of people out there working 10 times harder than you that are going to beat you all day long.
That's right.
So, I think making it to very far along and then getting cut and not making it onto the live show shows he realized, gosh, I got to really step up my game.
Absolutely.
And work.
Yeah, like that's one of the questions that I had my voice coach on here, a couple weeks ago, and that's one of the questions we asked her. So is it the most talented person usually that makes it? And she said no.
No, it's the ones that work the hardest. And then what was the second thing she said, Christy?
Well, I don't know. What was it?
It was well, she said it's not the ones with the most talent that succeed. It's the ones that work the hardest, but they have to be able to visualize themselves doing what they want to do. And I think, though, that, I don't care. You can, as an adult, when you get rejected, it's hard.
Yeah.
So can you imagine as a 15, 16, 17-year-old being rejected and rejected. That's why it's the people that, you know, if it's your passion, you don't care how many times you get knocked down. But if it's not your real passion, yeah,
you do
we
care. You just get a little tougher. You just learn how to, I like this phrase too that really made an impact on me. Discipline your disappointment.
You have to.
That's stuck
so
with me
good.
when I learned that. And that's like a little mantra, discipline your disappointment, no matter what it is, whether it's, you know, singing or a person in your life or something you thought you were going to be able to do and you have to do something different,
Right.
you know, and
It's
I just
true.
think discipline your disappointment. It really helps me kind of turn my mindset around.
Exactly. I love it. I love it.
And so now I know you've got some things coming up with Robert. You have some plans. And then I want to talk a little bit about, you know, Debbie writes too.
Oh, well, I got to hear about that.
I know. We got to hear about that, Debbie.
So we were going on college visits, you know, probably all last year, all last summer, and looking at schools. And it wasn't until, you know, probably, I don't know, a few months ago that Robert came home from school and he said, look, I've made up my mind, you know, and I thought he was going to say tech. I was like, I don't know, because all his uncles went
Tech,
there.
that is.
Yes.
Red Raiders. Put up your guns. Put your guns up, Red Raiders.
But he came home and he said, you know, I've made up my mind. I want to go pursue music full time in LA. And as a mom, like I, honestly, like you guys were just talking about believing and seeing yourself, like he has zero doubt. Like he said, because I was like, okay, maybe we can go out there and for 6 months, but you can go to community college, you know, or whatever. And he's like, Mom, I'm going to be on tour in 6 months. So like, I'm like, he is so crystal clear about it. He has no doubt. So to me, I'm like, okay, so you can take the first semester off. I mean, you always have the rest of your life to go back to college. So, yeah, we're going to go to LA. I told him that I'll rent my house here in Frisco and I'll go out there and live and rent a house out in LA for a year. And my job, I travel a lot to Southern California for work. So they'll be flying me back here to Texas, you know, and to see my account. So it works out perfect. That's like my territory. So
that's
Debbie,
awesome.
that is so amazing.
yeah, we're really excited.
You know what? And here's what's so cool for the people that are listening in. You know, whether they're listening live right now or are you going to share it with your friends? As a single mom, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And how amazing is that all this energy and time and the gifts and the talents, and now you're going to be with him out. It's emotional, isn't it?
It is. It's exciting.
And and you'll be coming back on the show with Robert, and
Yes,
and
I
y'all are be
definitely
on
wanna have him
tour.
on.
Yes.
And I think we have a little clip, Ziggy, of Robert, because I just want everyone to hear his voice.
Amazing.
I got my eyes on you. You're everything that I see. I want your love and emotion endlessly. I can't get over you. You left your mark on me. I want your love and emotion endlessly. 'Cause you're a good girl and you know it. You know exactly who you could be. 'Cause you're a good girl and you know it. I know exactly who you could be. So just hold on, we're going home.
Oh my gosh. I mean, like, I had to get my tissue out because I mean, as soon as his voice, and I heard this last night when I was like, oh, we're going to play this. And then I just got a little choked up.
Amazing. Okay,
Sounds so good.
First of all, he's incredible.
Oh, well, thanks.
But so tell me how you videotaped that, because I'm interested in the video in there.
Oh,
Did you do that?
I didn't. We went to a friend of ours. They did it at church, so it was kind of like, you know, just they had two camera angles or whatever. I couldn't do something like that. But yeah, we just went ahead and videoed.
Was that recent?
Yes, it was just like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Wow, how awesome!
I'm still like,
maybe
so great.
maybe you had something to do with his music.
I don't know. Well, I guess we have an influence on everybody, you
That's
know.
exactly right.
Yes.
I might have had a little influence on him like last December.
Well, you're
We
definitely.
had a chat. We had a little chat.
Well, what about your writing? So
Yes.
what kind of writing are you doing?
Which, by the way, you still do have an influence on him.
I
And
think so.
especially, you know, because you guys have been seeing each other over the last year. And he's like, he's like, whenever I play what you're singing, he's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, see what a little work does for you? You know, it's just a big difference. So I think what's wonderful about it is, you know, 18 years ago, before I had him, I was, you know, writing. I had written several books, you know, a children's book. I'd written a couple of screenplays. I was already submitting them to production studios, and I had like offers. And then when I had him, I kind of had to like regroup and get like have a real job and a real career when I knew it was just going to be me, because how am I going to provide? So I kind of tabled all that and put it on hold. And the ironic thing about it is, you know, a lot of the stuff that I want to do in terms of having the, you know, the 2 screenplays that I've written, have them produced. I mean, that can happen in LA. So it's like we're going to LA for my son, but now it's like almost like that parenting aspect, that 18 years that I dedicated and said, I'm just going to put him first and put parenting first and be a good mom. And a lot of times being a good mom is not taking risks, and so I've kind of pulled back on the risk taking, but now I feel like it's come full circle. And when we go out to LA, I fully intend to start, you know, submitting my screenplays and
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
about
Well, and the
that.
cool thing too is that he can be in your plays, in your movies, and he can perform the things that you're doing, and then y'all can collaborate together, and he can write music and songs for your things. I mean, I see some big things happening right here.
yes, and Christy
exciting.
also can sing my trailer to the movie.
gonna
I
audition.
can totally see
Yes.
that.
I can do
use
something
the
too.
best. Yeah,
I'll do something too. Whatever y'all need me to do, I'll do.
we'll have a cameo for sure. We'll write in
Yes.
a lot.
That is so amazing. I love it. This
I
has
love
been
that.
great.
I'm so excited. Debbie would just dream. You know, people get their inspiration in different ways, but a lot of times I remember you would dream something and you're like, oh my gosh, I dreamed the whole thing. And she would tell me about it and it was amazing.
Yeah, so I'd get up
And I would
just
just be
start
like,
writing.
I just want to do that. You know, try to
But
dream
you know
it.
what I think, though, for the people that are tuning in, I promise you there are other people that are going to listen to this. Because, you know, everything happens for a reason. There are no coincidences. But there's somebody that's going to listen to this. And your story, Debbie, is going to inspire them to start
Absolutely.
doing some things that they have in their head, they have in their heart, they haven't done. And like you too, Christy, how they say my ship has sailed. No, get that sail
your
out,
sail
get
up
your
again.
sailboat out, get that sail up. The wind is still blowing.
Yeah.
I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, and it is true. So a lot of my greatest ideas, I think, have come from dreams, or just, you know, back when I had more time to meditate and I was, you know, more connected, which I feel like that will happen for you too as well with songs. It's just being open to it, because I feel like you've got several songs that are in you still that are going to come out on paper, and it's just knowing that.
And being able to immerse yourself, and because there's so many distractions out there, and so many, when you just start doing, trying to make, you know, things ends meet, make it work, you know, then you kind of, your inspiration and creativity gets a little stifled, but you just have to cultivate it, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to be creative when you're stressed. So
Right.
you know,
Right.
but that it goes back to, though, having great people in your life. You know, because I have no doubt, really, what you've done over the last year has impacted Robert. I have no doubt about that.
Well, I can't wait to have him on.
I
It's
know,
going to be
that's
fun. I was thinking
awesome.
about that yesterday. Ooh, yeah, and it's just, this is so exciting being able to do this and having you here,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
and having my friend, my longest friend that I've ever had. You should have a plaque.
Hey, well, we can
Thank
make
you.
that happen.
Oh yeah. So
I
this is
love
us
this.
back
Hey,
in
I
the
think
day. Like
y'all
we
do
look the
like
same, right?
twins. You do look like twins. Which one's Christy? Which one's Debbie?
I don't know. Debbie always had dimples, and I didn't really have them. Always wanted them though.
That's awesome.
And then there we are,
There
like
you go.
recently, not too long ago.
That was our birthday, like
Yeah.
last year.
Uh-huh.
I love it.
Funny.
Yes. So I love you, Deb.
I love you too.
And I love you. And I mean, this is just so much fun. You know, when you get to do the things you love to do with the people that you love the most, that's a blessing right there.
That is.
Yes, I agree.
And so, Deb, now, this is something I like to ask everybody because it's just kind of fun. And like, what would be your theme song if you had one song that just kind of spoke to you, or?
I would say unwritten. I mean, that just because I feel like, you know, the rest of my life is unwritten. It's just a blank page. And it's like, it just, you know, it kind of makes you feel like, it makes me feel like that I can rewrite, or I can write the end of my story however I want. If it's going to be with, you know, getting involved in making films, and the screenplays that I've written were basically written just because I really wanted to make a difference in the world. It's all about everybody's connected. And so, you know, being able to get that on the big screen and kind of, you know, make a global difference is what I'm passionate about. So unwritten, and just because I like to write, I think that song kind of sums it up. And, you know, I'm just looking forward to going to LA because I feel like there's, you know, chapters that are going to be written out there.
I love that.
That's awesome. Debbie was always like thinking about that. Like even back when I was like, Debbie, we don't have time to do that. I'm like, Debbie's like, we got to do something about peace. I'm like, Debbie, we're too busy having fun. Like, that doesn't sound fun to me. Can we do that later? Like,
well, now it's later.
What's so funny is I looked on my calendar the other day, and there is a World Peace Day.
I know.
When Christy and I were in our early 20s, I wrote to Bill Clinton, you know, that there needed to be a World Peace Day where everybody could stand for peace. And of course, you know, he wrote back, and he was like, well, we'll consider it. But I just looked on the calendar.
What
so
day?
weird.
What's the date?
It's sometime this month. I just saw it on my calendar.
I thought you did that.
I mean,
maybe it was.
What date? What date?
I have no. I just saw it on my calendar last week.
Well,
I was shocked to see it.
Hey, we're going to find out what day is the National or International Day of Peace, World
Yes,
Peace.
yes.
We'll let
But she was
know.
always doing stuff like that, and I'd be like, Debbie, oh, that doesn't sound fun.
Yes. I mean, I think, you know, giving back is such a huge part. You know, my son does Young Men's Service League, but the moms have to do it with them. So that's been great. You know, that's been a great way for us to connect, but also to show that it's more than just about you, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and focusing out. And I feel like that's, you know, most people that you see that are the most successful in life, I think that's what they do. They spend time giving back. You know, that's a priority.
Ah, well,
September
September 21st.
September 21st.
Sweet.
September 21st
Is World Peace-
Peace Day. I'm writing it down.
I'm gonna write it down, too.
September 21st.
I might write a song.
Yeah, write a song. Hey, that's awesome. I love it.
Awesome. So, yeah, and, you know, I was thinking, you know, if I had a song for Debbie, what would that be? And I just, you know, sometimes, like, if you're reading a book, you just like, I'm just going to open it to the page I'm supposed to read today. And so I just hit my playlist without looking, and Wild Hearts came up. And mom had to listen to it about 4 or 5 times on the way down here.
That's awesome.
And then I let her listen to some Merle Haggard.
That's great.
But that song is so amazing and impactful. And, you know, Pink, of course, is the artist. And I'm so excited to get to go see her this week on Wednesday. But Wild Hearts just made me think of you, because Wild Hearts can't be broken.
Oh,
And this is your, you know, time to go out there and do something for yourself also, you know, in a big way. And also at the same time be able to support him and be there for him, which won't be near as scary. I couldn't imagine moving to LA by myself. Now, moving to Dallas, my sister was here, so that wasn't too as scary. It was a little scary. I think I cried. Anyway, we'll talk about that next week. But I didn't remember it until I was reminded. But so Wild Hearts, that just kind of rings a bell. And I just want you guys to know, you people who tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in today with us. And you got to come back every week. We're going to have amazing guests, and I'll have my sidekick with me, Jen's here as well. And we're just going to have a blast. And what I like to do is leave all my viewers with a song for the soul. And if y'all don't mind, I might just sing a little bit of it.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yes.
This is my rally cry. Wild hearts can't be broken.